Oscar nominee Amanda Seyfried stars as Elizabeth Holmes in a true story, The Dropout, which you can stream on Hulu and Disney+. Holmes was the former CEO of Theranos, a multi-billion-dollar health technology business. Her plan was to revolutionize blood tests to change how diseases were found. Her idea was very promising, but sadly, it all turned out to be a sham. What's good, you guys? This is Market Thrive, and today, we're going to play Fact or Fiction on this new TV series, The Dropout. Before I start the video, I would just like you to do me a favor by just hitting that subscribe button and the bell notification down below to keep you updated on this channel. And finally, there will be spoilers. You have officially been warned. So without further ado, let's hop into it. Number 1. Holmes' childhood. Fact: the series only provides a brief glimpse into Holmes' early years, but the most important details are accurate. As the time series states, she did make an attempt to build a time machine when she was just 7 years old. When she was a small child, she's rumored to have told family members she wanted to be a billionaire.
I don't want to be president. I want to be a billionaire.
Okay.
As depicted in the television show, Holmes' father did hold a top position in Enron. It's also true that her dad was fired after the business filed for bankruptcy due to an accounting fraud issue. The Enron crisis rose to the top of the corporate fraud cases in US history in terms of public attention. Number 2. Elizabeth and Sonny's relationship. Fact: when she was only 18, Elizabeth Holmes traveled to China and met Sunny Balwani for the first time. As unbelievable as it may sound, Elizabeth, then a teenager, met the 37-year-old Sonny while participating in a Chinese language exchange program. Keiko Fujimoto and Sonny were married at that time. They split later that year. For a long time, Holmes and Balwani concealed their connection from Theranos board members, investors, and the media.
For a second you were here, now you over there, it's hard not to stare.
When Balwani comes up at the workplace one day, Ian Gibbons, the top scientist at Theranos, asks who he is, and Holmes replies that Balwani is a friend. Later, when Holmes is away in Nashville for the Pfizer experiment, Balwani shows up unannounced at the lab and introduces himself as an unofficial consultant. There isn't much known about how Balwani might have met Theranos employees who, like everyone else in the business, didn't know about his relationship with Holmes. Number 3. Elizabeth Holmes left Stanford as soon as she could. Fact: Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, what do they all have in common? Steve Jobs left, Bill Gates left, and Elon Musk left. They were all tech giants, and among other things, none of them completed college. Quote, I wanted to do something with my life that people thought was impossible previously, and I wanted to follow the example of my idols. So I tried to imitate their success, beat for beat, on the road to becoming a self-made billionaire, end quote, said Elizabeth Holmes. At the age of 19, Holmes left the Stanford School of Engineering in 2014.
Well, how would we pay for your tuition?
Well, you won't have to, because I'm going to drop out.
Therefore, both the show's title and its depiction of Holmes' college years are undeniably correct. Only a few months before Holmes graduated from Stanford, she reported that she had been sexually assaulted at the party. Holmes would subsequently speak about the encounter in her trial testimony, stating that this crime motivated her to leave school and begin Theranos. Number 4. Brendan Morris. Fiction with some hints of truth. Even though Brendan Morris seems to not exist, he is based on someone who does. Morris, an engineer, is hired to speed up the prototype's manufacturing because things weren't going fast enough. This, it turns out, makes the environment between Morris's team and Ku's team more competitive. After Ian Gibbons kills himself, Morris decides that he has had enough of Theranos. Shortly before leaving Theranos, he sends an email outlining Gibbons' accomplishments. Morris and Tony Nugent, who started at Theranos around the same time to work on the Edison, have a lot in common. Nugent also wrote a memorial email for Gibbons but didn't send it to the entire company, whereas it's implied that Morris resigned right away after Gibbons passed away, and Sonny Balwani fired Nugent 3 months later. Number 5. Theranos' groundbreaking clinical study on terminal patients. Fact: The Dropout portrays Holmes as an ambitious businesswoman who first has noble intentions but eventually compromises them as she grows more determined to succeed. A crucial turning point occurs when Holmes conducts a clinical trial on patients with terminal cancer. Despite being told repeatedly that the prototype isn't ready, Holmes insists that this is all a part of the process and says, quote, "All we need is a drop of blood," end quote.
What are you doing? Get back in there, Edmund.
Theranos used faulty testing devices on cancer patients in Nashville, Tennessee, which caused Anna Ariola to depart the organization. Number 6. The device in Switzerland. Fact. In one of the most tense scenes in the show, there is a fleeting moment when Theranos seems to have a functioning prototype to present to Swiss healthcare corporation Novartis. However, the machine eventually stops functioning. The team in Switzerland and crew in the United States spent all night trying to get the machine to work over a video call. When all else fails, Holmes fudges the truth with previous results. Number 7. Theranos has well-known investors and endorsements. Fact. As you can see in Dropout, Holmes used her tuition money to start Theranos, or Real-Time Cures as it was originally called. Holmes did win over Don Lucas, who became chairman of the board. Along with Lucas, much of the Theranos board consisted of Tim Draper, a Silicon Valley venture capitalist who cut $1 million check to hello Dawn Elizabeth Holmes. The Walton family, Betsy DeVos, and Rupert Murdoch were just a few of the major backers of Theranos. Additionally, former President Bill Clinton and future President Joe Biden both gave Theranos 2 significant endorsements. Number 8. Holmes' voice. Fact and fiction. It's really hard to say. Throughout the course of the series, we see Holmes change from an unsure, sloppy-dressed businesswoman to a self-assured biotech superstar. She not only exudes the charisma of her hero, Steve Jobs, but also adopts his new look, which includes a black turtleneck. Holmes also starts to deepen her voice dramatically.
Here, at Theranos, we are developing new technology.
Although her family claims that her baritone voice is real, Phyllis Gardner, a professor at Stanford, claims that Holmes didn't speak that way there. In a 2005 interview, Holmes's voice can even be heard shifting from high to low.
No, it hasn't. Well, if I use traditional words to describe what we're doing, it's hard because people then associate it with conventional processes.
In reality, it's hard to tell whether or not the voice is fake. Number 9. Theranos joining forces with Walgreens. Fact. Shortly after CVS, Walgreens is the largest chain of pharmacies in the United States, and Theranos treated the drugstore behemoth like a fiddle. Kevin Hunter, a lab consultant, was hired by Walgreens to review Theranos, but the dishonest business did everything it could to keep its secrets a secret. This included Balwani following Hunter on this trip to the restroom while they were set up with a sushi lunch. Despite these warning signs, Walgreens agreed to develop 40 in-store wellness centers because they didn't want CVS to outperform. Dr. Jay Rosen, Vice President of Health Innovation at Walgreens, was particularly interested in working with Theranos. Theranos didn't just con Walgreens. Safeway was also willing to spend $350 million refurbishing 800 locations. Number 10. Ian Gibbons' shocking death. Fact. Of all the characters in the Dropout series, biochemist Ian Gibbons is the one who evokes the most empathy. Unfortunately, virtually everything depicted in the series about Gibbons is real. Gibbons went to work for Theranos after overcoming cancer. The lab leader was fired after raising concerns, but when his co-workers backed him, he was hired again as a technical consultant. He ultimately chose the most terrible course of action, combining booze and medication the evening before he was scheduled to testify. In reality, Gibbons died a few days after his wife found him unresponsive in the bathtub, and Theranos removed his laptop right away. Unfortunately, in the series and in real life, this story ended very badly for everyone involved. I truly empathize with all the employees at Theranos who had to go through this experience. So what do you guys think about The Dropout? Do you feel the show accurately depicts this real-life tragedy? On a scale from 10 to crushing it, how much did Amanda Seyfried kill that performance? Feel free to jot down your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed today's video, please leave a like. And if you want to stay updated on our posts, hit that subscribe button as well. Once again, this is Market Thrive, signing off.